Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm really excited that the sun finally came out after our rain because I get to bring you out to my little jungle of a garden where it's really peaceful out here. We've been reviewing the 6 myths of grief that are laid out by the grief recovery method. And the one I reviewed the last time was don't feel bad. That's kind of the number one myth that is overarching everything. And it kind of leads into this second one, which is replace the loss. Now, I'm kind of reviewing these as they apply to children because that's where we begin to get the wrong ideas about grief and how we learn that we're not supposed to show grief. There's something wrong with it. So regarding replace the loss, one of the ways that shows up is, let's take, for instance, when a child loses a pet. That's a pretty classic example. Child loses a pet and we, in an effort to comfort them, and this all comes from a place of wanting a child to feel better, we say something like, oh, don't worry, we can get you a new puppy. Well, what that tells the child is that there's something wrong with grieving about the one that they lost, and that they can easily replace that, and that they don't have to work through any of those difficult feelings that they're having, and that somehow there's something wrong with them. So rather than soothing or comforting the child in their grief, that combination of don't feel bad and replace the loss begins to make them feel like that being sad or feeling bad isn't acceptable. And worse, they're led to believe that if they can just forget about what happened and kind of put it in the back of their mind, that everything will be okay, and a replacement for that will satisfy that little ache that they have. But relationships are not replaceable, like tangible things like a light bulb, of course. And all relationships are very unique, and it's those unique connections are very significant, and they stick with us as we get older, and they become even bigger. The things that we need to grieve that we've lost become even more important to us. By the time children of 5 or 6, they've heard that kind of talk about grief and the implications of how we're supposed to handle it over and over and over and again, hundreds of times, and it just gets compounded as we move, as we grow older. So if you think of young adults, that are beginning to have relationships with people that they're becoming very close to, we might say, we realize as adults that there will be other opportunities in the future, but sometimes we as adults, rather than helping them work through that pain and acknowledging that yes, this is a hurtful thing, we will say platitudes like, well, you're a wonderful person, you'll find somebody, or there's more fish in the sea, whatever that might be. And this actually translates also as we get into adulthood and we begin to let's take a contemporary example, for instance. There's a lot of people who are losing their jobs right now, and they may have spent years and years, honing their craft or becoming highly academically skilled in it. And they can't just, they've built a place where they are. They can't just automatically replace that as if it were nothing. It's become part of their identity. So these are things that we, really have to acknowledge and allow people to work through. Some of the damage that this can create has long-term impacts on our relationships. So every time we experience a deep loss, imagine that it's kind of a heavy rock that if we're not dealing with it and working through it, thinking of all the aspects around it and completing our relationship to that person or that painful event, it's kind of like a rock that we put in a backpack, and we just continue to carry that backpack around and carry it around. And eventually it just gets so heavy that it gets sort of to critical mass, and we have to get rid of that pain. And we often do that in less than optimal ways. It might lead to addiction. It can lead to fractured relationships, marriages. It can even hurt, our professional lives, because it damages the way we interact with people. So it's important to remember that all relationships are unique, and that you have to grieve and complete the relationship to whatever it is that you've lost. And until and unless we do that, we are constantly going to drag that event from the past and the hard feelings that came with it that are unresolved into the present. So I hope that helps explain myth number 2. And the next one that we're going to review is number 3, which is grieve alone. And that just adds one more layer of difficulty to our ability to overcome grief. But happy news is that there is a way around all this. All right, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.